Hello and welcome to Tea and Cornbread, a conversation with Sean and Tracy. I am Sean.
And I'm Tracy.
And we are talking to you all that are 50 and fabulous.
And don't forget handsome.
And we want you to know that we want to get some education happening, some empowerment.
We want to grow with you. We want to learn with you. We want to see what you're doing, 50 and over.
So like, share, comment, follow, subscribe,
grab your
tea. Hello, and welcome to Tea and Cornbread. I am your host, Sean Johnson.
And I'm Tracy Davis-Johnson. Happy day, people.
Happy day. We are so excited today. We are talking to one of my childhood friends. We went to high school together, and but he's one of our local farmers in our area, and we want to just talk about, what he's doing, how he's doing. He has a magnificent and beautiful farm here in our city of Waterbury, Connecticut. And so his name is Anthony Rodges. Hey, Anthony.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome.
Yes.
Thank you.
Anthony is, hold on, I got your information. I want to make sure I say it right. He is a retired Army vet of 28 years. He bought his property in 2015, and we're going to talk about this beautiful property, and started homesteading and turned into a farm in 2022. So Anthony, tell us a little bit about yourself, besides what I just said.
Well, I started off after graduating high school, went into the military. After being in the Connecticut National Guard, which allowed me to actually, they paid my way through college for me to get my engineering technology degree from Waterbury State Tech. Worked for a while as a tech engineer and ended up going back into the military in 2001, right after 9/11, as a lot of people did who was former military. Just joined back up to, help out with the fight, and stayed in the military till I retired last year.
Awesome.
Nice.
Awesome.
Yes. So tell us a little bit. We're talking about your farm, your Hodges family farm, excuse me. Tell us a little bit how that got started. What got you interested in that?
Well, I own a real estate investment company called Boone Properties, which is named after our family name of Boone from the South. So I opened up that real estate investment company years ago, and I've just been buying real estate and being a landlord for a long time. And every time I drove by this house that we're currently in now, I've always said that if that house ever comes up for sale, I'm buying it no matter how much it costs.
Wow.
And it came up for sale in 2015. And as soon as I seen it,
I jumped on it.
I didn't know it came with all of the acreage and everything, but I was like, you know what? I'm gonna take all that with it. So It was really just a dream house for me that I've always wanted. And come to find out after going through everything, I'm only the second owner of this house, which was built in 1899. It's been in the same family since 1899, and this whole entire area used to be their farm. And little by little, it just kept chipping away at it, building new construction, new subdivisions. And this was like one of the last pieces that they had to sell. So when I purchased it, it was all overgrown and it was all wooded. So we bought the property, bought the land that came with it. And then we cleared the entire area over the summertime of 2015. And we cleared this whole entire area and decided to turn it back into a farm.
Nice.
Awesome.
At the time we did it, it was certain hurdles that we had to go through with purchasing the property. Number one, the appraiser couldn't appraise the house or the property because there was nothing in Waterbury this size with 6 acres that ever sold.
Wow.
So we had to do some creative financing on my part So in order to get the appraisal done, we had to separate the acreage from the actual house. And the agreement was I'll purchase the acreage in cash and then get the mortgage for the house. Seller agreed to that. So that, helped us out with that area. And then it was really just going through and being more of a homesteading more than a farm. It was really just to grow things for me and my family for us to eat better.
Nice, nice.
Awesome.
So it expanded from there into the farm.
Yes.
Your name says Hodges Family Farm. So tell us a little bit about the family. Who's involved? Is it all hands on deck? How does that work? As far as everything that goes on around there.
When we first started off and through the first few years, it was I was doing it. My sister will come up sometimes and she would help out with the farm. My mom comes over, my aunts and my uncle, they all came over to help out. And it was really just a family affair, and getting all of my aunts and my uncle together, just to have them together was fun to watch because they grew up on a farm down in Virginia, and just watching them argue with each other, a whole bunch of old people arguing with each other on how mom showed us how to do it. And everybody had a different version of what my grandmother showed them how to do. And just watching them argue over it was hilarious to me. So how everybody grew up on the exact same farm, but remember it completely different.
Right, right. That's normal inside of a household. Don't matter how many children is in the house. Everybody has a different interpretation of how mom and dad said and did things for them.
Exactly. And that was really just the birth of, what we do, and I always tell people, with me being retired and then having the other businesses is, we're not a not-for-profit, a nonprofit, but we are a not-for-profit farm. So the things that we sell here and things like that is really just to help out the community. It's not really something I'm trying to earn a living off of. Just breaking even is fine with me because my other business ventures allow me to be able to farm because I want to farm, not because I have to farm. So the money part of it is not an indicator for me.
That is so awesome and so nice to hear. That really is, that you like to give back to the community. I'm going to ask one more question and then pass the baton to Sean, but talk a little bit about that, giving back to the community, what it offers. Like, I know that I personally have taken a tour and I enjoyed it and said, I'll be back. I think since that time we had, so much rain and stuff, and you had to kind of revamp up there. I see you got a lot of things going on up there. What events do you offer to the community?
Well, for the community, we do tours up here as well. We also bring some of the school kids. They'll come up. Other nonprofits, they come through. People with special needs, they'll come. Sometimes the vans will come up and walk them around so they could see the animals. So we really are open up to the public. And sometimes we do allow people to rent the farm for private events as well. So it's really just trying to bring something to Waterbury that Waterbury haven't had in a long time. So we try to make it to where with it being free or affordable for people to come here so that they don't have to drive all the way out to, Watertown or Wolcott or other farms to get the same experience. So it was just for me something that, I looked at Waterbury needed. And I'm just here to try to help out with showing, especially with the kids. You don't have to run the streets. There is a better way of life if you choose to go down this path of doing better. I always tell the kids when they come here, especially, the inner city kids, I grew up in the inner city, my whole entire life. And the only expectation that, most of these teachers have of you is, as females, you're going to be pregnant by the time you're 18 and on welfare, and guys, you're going to be in jail or dead by the time you're 19. And that's not the message I want to send these kids. There is a better way. if you choose to take that route. It's not going to be an easy route. It's going to take a lot of self-discipline to walk away from a lot of the stuff that your friends are doing, just to stay safe.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Nice job. Nice job.
And you know, that's very important to, you know, give or let the kids know that, and parents, really parents, because it got to start with the parents to even be able to introduce them, you know what I mean, or the school system. And I love that you have your farm open to the public, you know, for that reason. And like you said, I come from the inner city, so I know what the expectations of the school system is, and it's basically the school system, the expectations that they have of the inner city kids. So tell us a little bit more about if there's a program that you guys do or offer, or is it just a matter of, if this is what you want to do, just show up?
We don't really have a formal program, mainly because it's really just me running the entire farm pretty much by myself. My girlfriend, Marianne, when she's not working, she helps out on the farm as well. But 80% of the work is really just done by me. So there's really not a formal program, just because I don't have a staff to put things like that together. It's really just people come up, I stop what I'm doing and take them for a tour and show them what we do, how we do it. When they have questions on how can they get started, we try to help out with people with community gardens, showing them how to do a community garden, show them how to do a backyard garden, or if they live in a condo, how to do a container garden. It's really just trying to show people you can eat well even on your own, even if you're living in a condo. You know, so it's just trying to get people to grow something.
Right. Awesome. I want to say, you know, you were an inspiration, because I didn't know nothing about farming at all. I just knew that I wanted to grow something, and I wanted to grow something to eat.
Yeah.
And it was hard to find, you know, it's hard to find good food around here that's close. We have to drive so far, you know, for us to do that. But this is great that it's like, listen, if you just show up, I can show you how to do this. Everybody can at least grow something, even if it's one item. Tomatoes are like the easiest thing to grow, right? And a lot of people eat tomatoes, but if you have tomatoes, Tracy has lettuce, and someone else has cucumbers, we have a salad, you know what I mean? And teaching people that it's possible to grow at least one thing, like you said, whether you have a yard, whether you have a porch, you know, a condo or whatever, is easy to do. Tell us more about the goals that you have for the farm, because I know that, like Tracy had mentioned, you know, you have a lot of things going on, and it has grown so much, and now that the city deems it as a farm, that's even better for you. But tell us more about what you're doing, what your plans are, and what your goals are.
Ultimately, the plan for me is to, you know, to be put out of business. That eventually people will start getting back to like when we were growing up, and we've always seen people backyards always had a garden, you know, in everybody's backyard, whether your parents or grandparents grew things on their own. But growing up, a lot of people had these backyard gardens, and people traded in their backyard gardens for grass now, because everybody wants to have a nice green lawn, but lawns don't feed nobody. You know, so it's eventually, get back to showing people is, you know, even if it's just for the summertime, you can have fresh vegetables and fruit, you know, even if it's just for the summer. People have this misunderstanding that if they go to the produce section of their grocery store, that I'm eating fresh vegetables, and you're not. Those vegetables have been picked weeks in advance, and they weren't picked when they were ripe. So when people come here and taste the strawberries and wonder why our strawberries are so sweet and the stores aren't, because you picked it when it was ripe. Everybody else picked it a couple of weeks earlier before it ripened on its way to the grocery store. People don't understand that. So they have this misunderstanding that if it's in the produce section, that it is actually a fresh vegetable, and it's just not a processed vegetable.
Right, right. And it travels so far, so we may get strawberries in strawberry season, we may get them a little closer, but for the most part, strawberries are coming from where? Mexico, Florida,
Majority of the strawberries across America actually come from California.
Okay. Okay.
They are the largest strawberry producers in America.
Okay. So, and with that said, like you said, it's traveling. And while it's traveling is when it's ripening. So it's not fresh.
Right.
It's not fresh. And people need to understand that. What do you think about the season? Like you said, even if you only grow in the summer, what about the fall and the winter?
Fall and the winter, there's other things that you can grow that does well in the fall and winter. Garlic, for instance, you have to plant that in the late fall, early winter, because it needs that cold snap in order to grow. So things, bulb, anything that's like a bulb, garlic, onions, things like that, you can start growing those in the fall so that you can have a summer harvest. So if you plant garlic in late October, early November, you'll be able to harvest your garlic in July. So you just leave it outside and it just does everything on its own. You don't really have to take care of it. Garlic is very easy to grow, and everybody use garlic.
Touch upon a little bit of what is on your farm. Fruits, vegetables. I know you have small animals up there. You have a koi pond up there. Touch a little bit of what, a quick synopsis of what people would see if they came to do a tour and all that you offer the community.
So the things with the selling of the produce that we have, we really don't sell to the public anymore ever since we got the agricultural permit from the city of Waterbury, because that was actually one of the conditions that the city of Waterbury put on us, that we cannot do any retail sales off of the property. So now we really just grow directly for Brass City Harvest, and they're the ones who brings our food to the community. So they sell to a lot of the senior centers. They go to a lot of the old folks' homes and sell the produce there. They actually set up a farmers markets downtown on Thursdays, and they actually label all of the produce that they sell from what farm they got it from. So they're the ones who actually does the outreach part of what we do. So we grow specifically for them now, just because that was the condition that the city of Waterbury put on us. But we grow everything. We have strawberries, blueberries, we have apple trees, peach trees, figs. We just started planting some fig trees, so hopefully they'll do well. We grow all types of vegetables as well, tomatoes naturally. We started doing potatoes to see how that goes, sweet potatoes to see how well that does as well.
Nice.
But we do all different types of lettuces, cucumbers, carrots, radishes, beets, bok choy, leafy greens, all types of stuff that we grow here.
Nice.
So the potatoes and sweet potatoes, aren't those are fall harvest, correct?
Yes, sweet potatoes, you'll start harvesting them after your first frost.
Okay. So like collard greens and things like that.
Well, that's a whole different type of myth. The whole collard greens, you can't pick them to after your first frost and everything. Well, the biggest producer of collard greens is down south, and their first frost is almost never. Right. So that whole myth of they taste better, after the first frost hit them. You could pick collard greens in the summertime, and if you feel that they need a first frost, throw them in your freezer for a day. It's the same thing.
There you go.
I need to learn a lot. I'm going to do some more research, because I'm believing the myths evidently.
Yeah, that's an old old black
myth.
Urban myth.
Okay.
You can't have collard greens until it has the first frost. Nah, that's not really true.
And collard greens you can grow. Well, my uncle did give us collard greens this summer. He was growing a lot of stuff this summer and just kept giving us food. So
if you got collard greens in the summer and you ate them,
That's
Where was your
true.
first frost?
That's true. That's so true. All right. So, okay. So, you were saying that you guys are growing for Brass City Harvest. And so let's talk about the animals. What animals do you have? And then you were talking about you'll be processing them. What does that mean? And what do you do?
So we have goats, we have sheep, we have turkeys here as well. We do chicken, we do egg laying chickens, we do ducks, and we also have rabbits here on the farm.
Okay.
So processing them is just going from the live version of the animal, to the freezer version of the animal.
Okay. Okay. And so what made you get into the livestock piece of things?
The livestock started after I retired from the military last year. And the reason why I really didn't do it prior to, other than just having chickens, was just a time factor. Livestock takes a lot of time. So I didn't want to do that while I was working, just because of being in the inner city. They tend to escape. So you have to be on the ground, so when they do get out, you can put them back in. And when I was working in the military, my job was almost an hour away. There was no way I'd get back in time to be able to recapture my animals.
Mhm.
So just having them here, I knew I had to wait till I retired. So once I retired, then I got the larger livestock, which is, just being able to take care of them. They're a challenge all on their own.
Okay. And so when you're processing them, you're doing that for yourself, or you is that Brass City? Do they sell any of your processed meats or anything like that?
No, because in order to resell meat, you have to process it at a USDA facility in order to resell it. And we just do it all for, the meat and everything that we process here is really just for me and my family.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome.
And then I do have some friends that put in on the cost. Basically almost like a, cost share type of thing.
Yeah.
So they'll put in on the cost and raising them and buying them and things like that in exchange for some of the meat, once it's ready to process.
Awesome.
So we don't sell to the public at all, any of our meat.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. So
somebody wants to, I'm sorry, go ahead, Sean.
Go ahead. Nope.
Somebody wants to get more involved. How do they do that? Normal Joe Schmo just wants to know a little bit more about the industry, get their hands dirty and start, like you said, gardening or growing their own fruits and vegetables. How do they get started, or what's the protocol with you if that's what they want to come up, they want to talk to you? I know you said that you're open, anytime, any day, but that kind of messes up your work schedule. You don't have like a designated time or anywhere somebody could sign up, call you and say, hey, I want to come Friday at 3:00. Can I have a tour? How does that work?
That would just come and call, and I'd be like, if I'm available.
So you're open. Okay.
Yeah, I'm here most of the time. That's just one of the aspects of being a farmer. It's, once you decide, I tell people all the time when they be like, oh, I want to be a farmer, I'd be like, no, you don't. I was like, do you like going on vacations and you like taking weekend getaways and trips? They was like, oh yeah, I love vacations. Then you don't want to be a farmer.
Takes a lot of your time.
Farming it's a dedication. You are, basically tethered to this farm for a good portion of your time, at least during the growing season. So a lot of things have short windows when you come to farming. There's a short time, based on what you're growing. There's a, short time span on getting in the ground. So it has the, what we call the days of maturity, to being able to harvest. If you miss that window, it don't mature in time before the frost gets here and kill the plant. So a lot of things that it takes a lot of organization to be a farmer. I think that's one of the biggest things that a lot of people really don't understand is it's not just as easy as just going out, throwing seeds in the ground and waiting for it to grow up. As Sean and them found out when they came to volunteer. It gets overwhelming. You miss a couple of days here, it's gonna give you a couple of weeks, to catch up. So farming takes that dedication. So going on vacations and things like that, you have to wait till the off season to do it. And if you got animals, there is no off season.
Mm, mm.
Because the
That's
animals
good
got to
stuff.
get taken care of. You know, they need to be fed every day.
Right.
Right.
So
Well,
it is a
you
dedication
got your work
that you
cut
have
out
to
for
have.
you. Yeah, you got your work cut out for you. And I mean, it sounds, like I said, hard work, but it also sounds very educational because we eat fruits and vegetables and, you know, meat people. So to learn more about it is definitely educational. So
Yeah,
go ahead,
it's
Sean.
No, you good.
being a farmer is a passion. You know, it's, you know, like people say, if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. That's
That's
what
so true. Yes.
that's what being a farmer is. It's a passion that you have to have.
Yeah.
And the other part with being a farmer, when you're farming for profit, in order to pay the bills of the farm, then now you have to worry about, you know, the day-to-day details of, you know, burnout, because now you're farming because you have to, not because you want to.
Right.
So once you get into that stage of farming, you do tend to have a burnout because you have to make a certain amount of money at the end of the season in order just to pay your regular household bills. It's just fortunate for me, I'm just not in that situation as a lot of farmers are.
Good for you. That's good. That's awesome. It's awesome that you're so caring and wanting to give back. I'm gonna keep saying that because you don't see that often. You know, people do it for profit. You know, like you said, it's their jobs and that's their ends meet, and they have to do it, you know, to pay bills. But this is nice. This is nice.
Yeah, so I just like, you know, I don't mind, you know, people coming, you know, stopping by and, hey, can you show us around, and stopping what I'm doing to show them around, because I don't have a deadline. You know, if I'm in the middle of working and I don't feel like working anymore, I go in the house, take a nap, you know, come back out when I feel like working again.
Right.
There, if it's too hot outside, I'll be like, you know, well, it's too hot to be a farmer today. I stay inside.
So tell us, we've had a lot of rain in the last couple of weeks.
All summer.
Yeah, right. We had a lot of rain. How did that affect you, and how do you maneuver around that to save some of your crop? Or having raised beds, does that help, or is that better? Or, you know, tell us a little bit about that. And I know that you have built a greenhouse now, and so tell us how that works, and, you know, is it going to be beneficial in a rainy season later?
So for me, when we had all of the rain that we've been having, especially the huge downpours and the flooding, it flooded out my whole entire growing area.
Wow.
So majority of my summer crops got completely flooded, you know, and washed away. So that's why we pretty much had to close, as far as the selling vegetables and everything. We pretty much had to, you know, close down for the rest of the season, early in the season, because of all of the flooding. So getting the greenhouse, we just built a 30-foot by 96-foot greenhouse, and we're doing raised beds inside of the greenhouse, just to alleviate that part of the flooding. So when our outdoor crops get flooded out, at least we'll have something indoors to where it'll be able to sustain us, as far as, you know, being able to still produce things during the summertime. So yeah, it's this year, it wasn't just us, it was majority of farmers. We got hit pretty bad early in the season, especially in July when we had back-to-back floods. So we got literally in 2 days in July, we got almost a month worth of rain in 2 days, and it just flooded out not just my farm, but majority of farms in Connecticut, in the Northeast. So yeah, it does hit hard, especially for the farmers who have to farm for a living. For me, it was just like, you know, oh well, you know, I guess I'll have to start from scratch and just move on from there. Other farmers that has larger commercial farms, it's more devastating for them. You know, a lot of people don't realize farmers actually take out loans. Your large commercial farms, they take out loans at the beginning of the season so they can have the finances to farm for that season. And then when the crop comes in and, they sell it at the market or however they sell it, they take that money back and to pay off that year's loan. So when you have a bad season and you can't cover that bill, they're in a deficit for that year. And that's why I say, your larger farms, they're more vulnerable than us as smaller farms, because we're able to turn over our beds very quickly. So if one bed get completely washed out, and that crop didn't make it, I can very quickly turn that into a whole separate crop. Larger commercial farms, they don't have the capacity for that. They don't do that.
Wow.
So those natural disasters hurt larger commercial farms, I would say, a lot more than us smaller farms.